Russia is facing severe sanctions by Western allies after Moscow invaded Ukraine in the early hours on Thursday. In the biggest assault by a state since the end of the Second World War, European Union imposed new economic sanctions against Russia. However, it refrained from the harsher sanctions demanded by Ukraine. EU will freeze Russian assets in the bloc, halt its banks' access to European financial markets, targeting 70% of Russian banking markets. The sanctions also target Russia's energy and transport sectors. EU has banned sale of aircraft spare parts to Russian airlines, seeking to choke its trade and manufacturing. It has also suspended all Russian diplomatic visas.
Have maximum impact on the Russian economy and the political elite, and it is built of 5 pillars. The first is the financial sector, second the energy sector, the third is the transport sector, fourth are export controls and the ban of export financing, and finally visa policy. Let me highlight some of the most important points.
The EU has decided to hold off from cutting Moscow off from SWIFT, the global interbank payment system. All the United States and its allies have confirmed that they are not taking SWIFT sanctions off the table. As Britain and others called for imposing additional sanctions, Berlin has put Nord Stream 2 certification on ice. Remember, the pipeline project is already complete and runs from Russia to Germany and was awaiting regulatory approval by EU and German authorities. Before Russian aggression against Ukraine, United States imposed sanctions against the company in charge of building the gas pipeline. Canada too announced sanctions against the Kremlin, calling Putin's move barbaric. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced sanctions against 62 individuals and entities, targeting major banks and members of the government. Canada also cancelled all export permits following Russian invasion of Ukraine. The United Kingdom announced unprecedented sanctions against the Kremlin. Prime Minister Boris Johnson unveiled the largest ever package of sanctions against Russia, targeting not only banks and financial institutes but also individuals, including Kirill Shamalov, Putin's once son-in-law. While America rolled out robust sanctions targeting Moscow's financial systems, blocking assets of large Russian banks and business oligarchs, and imposing export controls aimed to hurt its high-tech needs, Japan imposed sanctions targeting Russian financial institutes after G7 leaders agreed to penalize Moscow over Ukrainian invasion. Japan will now impose penalties targeting semiconductor exports and suspend visa issuance to Russian individuals and organizations. World's third largest economy is also planning to freeze assets of Russian financial institutions. Now, US President Joe Biden has hit back against Russia's invasion of Ukraine, pledging to stand up to Putin. Biden has unleashed robust new sanctions. New measures on top of a raft of other sanctions that were already announced will make Putin a pariah on the international stage. That's what US President has claimed. With the latest harsh sanctions, the United States targeted Russia's financial systems. The United States has blocked assets of large Russian banks. Export controls have also been imposed, which aim at the nation's high-tech needs and sanction its business oligarchs. Biden said 4 more banks would be hit with sanctions by the West.
We've cut off Russia's largest bank, a bank that holds more than 1/3 of Russia's banking assets by itself. Cut it off from the U.S. financial system. And today, we're also blocking 4 more major banks. That means every asset they have in America will be frozen.
The sanctions target Russian banks, oligarchs, high-tech sectors. Penalties fall in line with White House's plan to hit Russia's financial system and Putin's inner circle. Export controls will starve Russia's industries and military of U.S. semiconductors and other high-tech products. Export controls slapped on sensitive components will cut off more than half of Russia's high-tech imports.
Today, I'm authorizing additional strong sanctions and new limitations on what can be exported to Russia. This is going to impose severe cost on the Russian economy, both immediately and over time. We have purposely designed these sanctions to maximize the long-term impact on Russia and to minimize the impact on the United States and our allies. Between our actions and those of our allies and partners, we estimate that we'll cut off more than half of Russia's high-tech imports. It will strike a blow to their ability to continue to modernize their military. It'll degrade their aerospace industry, including their space program. It'll hurt their ability to build ships, reducing their ability to compete economically. And it will be a major hit to Putin's long-term strategic ambitions. And we're preparing to do more.
Biden addressed the nation after having attended a virtual closed-door meeting with a group of 7. The group of Western democracies said it was standing firm against Russia's threat to rules-based international order. Britain, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and the United States formed the G7. In a joint statement, the 7 industrial powers also said that they were ready to act to minimize disruptions to the world energy markets. Biden also warned U.S. oil and gas companies not to exploit the geopolitical risk and to hike their prices and raise their profits. Financial markets already view the Russian invasion as straining energy supplies. But Biden said that the sanctions against Russia will not disrupt the global oil and natural gas markets.
In our sanctions package, we specifically designed to allow energy payments to continue. We are closely monitoring energy supplies for any disruption. We've been coordinating with major oil-producing and consuming countries toward our common interest to secure global energy supplies.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.